During the Olympics in the 1980s, there was one of the greatest U.S. divers of all time by the name of Greg Louganis. And Greg Louganis had a routine that consistently put himself into flow. Think about your best game of all time. Think about where you performed your best. You had your best day hitting, you had your best day pitching. It seemed like everything just came effortlessly, and it was almost a euphoric feeling. What if you could do that more consistently? What if you could do that not just one time or two times, but almost at will? See, Greg Louganis during the Olympics had a routine. He was a diver, right? So the platform is 30, 40 feet in the air, whatever it is. And divers are in a cold pool, right? So what they do is they sit in a hot tub and they monitor their body temperature. Now that you don't have control to your body temperature, but it's going to emphasize the point. They sat in a hot tub to control their body temperature, to heat it up from the pool. And Greg Louganis specifically had a routine where the platform was 30, 40, 50 feet in the air, whatever it was. He would climb up the ladder as fast as he could. So when he's climbing up the ladder, what did that do? That started to make his heart race at a faster pace. And he had a breathing routine. So his heart was beating fast, and he had a breathing routine to get his heart rate down further and further and further until it was at that perfect spot. Now everyone has a different perfect spot, and you don't have access to going in and jumping in a hot tub or climbing up a ladder. But there's a definitive point where physically and mentally you're not overexerting or you're not underexerting. Okay, so overexerting, using complicated words. There's been tons of research and tons of studies done. There's a book called Flow specifically, but in that book he talks about flow being a place where you're not trying too hard, but you're also not bored. So you're challenging yourself, but you're not challenging yourself so much that it's overwhelming or stressful, and that you're doing something where it's not boring, it's not easy, and you actually have your attention. So there's a sweet spot, both physically and mentally though. The important story about Greg Louganis is he knew where he wanted to be physically, but you also have to figure out where you want to be mentally. And they work hand in hand. See, they're part of the same system. Your head, your heart, and your body are all part of this loop, right? And if you're too much in your head, it affects what you're going to do or what you're going to feel with your emotions. If you're worried too much about your emotions, it's going to affect your body, right? Your heart's going to start to race up. So they all affect each other. So getting into this state of flow is finding a range for each of those three things. Where's my body's perfect performance state? How loose do I need to be? How tense do I need to be? Where's that balance? On the mental side, I need to be thinking, but not about too many different things. I need to be thinking about, obviously, the present situation, but not overthinking the present situation, but not being bored where I'm not thinking about anything. And then on the emotional side, same thing. Emotions oftentimes kill us without us even realizing it. Emotionally, we can't be too worked up, but we can't be so bored that we don't have our heart, we don't have our passion into the game, because that's not where flow comes from. Flow comes from emotionally being connected to the game, but not too emotionally strained where you can't control what's going on. It's about finding that middle range for all three of those things. So my challenge to you after this video is just start paying attention to those three areas during your practices, because you need to practice this before you get into a game. You can practice getting in the flow. You can practice putting yourself into a better position. So pay attention to what you're doing physically and where that optimal range is for you. Do you need to get yourself a little more loose, or do you need to get yourself to just pump the brakes and relax a little bit? Where do you need to be mentally? What do you need to be thinking about? And then the same thing for your emotions. So that's your challenge. Very complex subject, tons of research done on it, but this is going to start you on the right path to getting to that flow state more consistently, so you can have more of those epic games, you can have more of those great performances. So until next time.